Alright, Joy, you're going to tell us about this cabinet here and its contents.
Alright, very good. This cabinet right here I got from my parents. It is an antique, and it's golden oak, and it's what's called a bow front cabinet. You can see why. Unfortunately, this right here is plastic, and one of these days I'd love to get that replaced with glass. I've looked into it, and it's problematical. But anyway, so as I said, this I got from my parents. I'm going to go right the way down the cabinet and talk about the different things that are in the cabinet. As I said, these are my favorite things, and my favorite things for a number of reasons. Okay, on the very top there's a collection of Bobbsey Twin books, and the Bobbsey Twin books were a lengthy series written by Laura Lee Hope. The very first book, The Bobbsey Twins, was published in 1904, and the first printing of the series was in the 1900s, followed by a second printing in the 1920s, then additional printing in later years. It's rather special to me because one of my earliest memories is going and visiting my grandparents in Brooklyn, New York. That would be your great-grandparents. And my grandmother had bought a set of the Bobbsey Twin books for my father. And I remember as a very young child looking through the books and looking at the pictures and like that. So they're kind of special to me. The very first printing of the Bobbsey Twin books was, I have one book from that series, and you can see it looks very old. This is not the series that my grandmother bought for my father. That was a somewhat later series, and you can see that the picture looks different.
Yeah.
So they were very, very popular books, and many, many parents bought them for their kids. And as I said, my grandmother bought them for my father, and so I remember them very vividly. I don't have all of them. From time to time I see them and I pick them up and get them. They were reprinted many, many times, and of course each time they were reprinted there were more and more titles on them, and so the later printings are much less valuable because they're like yay many books as opposed to this many books. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Your great-great-grandmother, Anne, née Meering, Zengel, bought the Bobbsey Twin books for your grandfather, John F.P. Zengel, when he was a little boy. When your great-grandparents lived at Sheepshead Bay in Brooklyn, New York, we used to visit them. My sister and I would sit and read the Bobbsey Twin books, which were still there then. In later years, most of the Bobbsey Twin books were lost, but the two of the books I have originally belonged to your grandfather, and they're notated inside. The Bobbsey Twins in Washington, this one here, and the Bobbsey Twins at Cedar Camp, which is right here. They used to belong to your great-grandfather. Okay. Your Aunt Barbara stamped her name in a number of the books on one visit when she was about 9, so her name is in them too. She also has 2 of the original books. All the others I have collected because of the memories, but also because they're a fascinating look at everyday life in that time period. Because even though they were published like in 1920 or so, she's actually writing about a period 10 years before. I've paid between $10 and $50 for each book, depending on its age, condition, and whether it still has the original book jacket. They've gone up a lot in value in recent years and are now very difficult to find. Okay. Any questions about that before I move down to the next? Okay. Not very seriously, but I like to collect the Royal Doulton figures. And all of these figures in the top here, these are all Royal Doulton, and they're different. You can see they're stamped on the bottom. For example, this one is Tuppence a bag, which is the name of this particular Doulton figure, and it tells you all this information of Doulton and Company Limited, the registration numbers, all this sort of thing. And then of course here's the Royal Doulton stamp and seal up here. Okay, as I said, I particularly like them, and so I collect them. Some of them have gotten up in value, others have not. A couple of them, let's see, one of them I got from Auntie Olive. This one I got from Auntie Olive. This is the oldest one, and this is Vanity, Quality Street. And as you can see, if you look very carefully, her wrist was broken and it's been mended. But this one I got from Auntie Olive, so that's kind of special to me. And Auntie Olive had one other figure that I really clearly remember, and it's this one here called Top of the Hill that she had, and I liked it so much that I bought it myself, but she did have this one too. This one, when Jimmy and I went to the Virgin Islands, where you can buy a number of British import things inexpensively, I bought this one here as a souvenir of the trip. And this is Royal Dalton. This is Catherine. They all have names. If you look on the bottom, they're all identified at what particular, what particular name they have. Okay, moving down to the second shelf here. This blue and white china, this blue and white scallop china here, this is a tea set. And as you can see...
Try and hold it still for a bit longer
so
the camera can pick up on it. Of course, now that I said that's not doing it. Anyway.
Okay. It's a tea set. And it's a set of cups. You can see the cups here. There are the saucers for the cups. There's dessert plates. And in the back, I have two big dishes back there. And as I said, it's a tea set. The idea was that you'd have friends over to tea. You'd give them tea, the little dessert plates, and then on the two big plates, you'd have petit fours and scones and things like that. Okay.
So you've got the tea saucers, and then below them are the dessert plates.
Right, uh-huh.
And then in the back are the two larger plates.
Mm-hmm.
And have you used those?
I use them from time to time. The problem with them, I think they're beautiful and I love them. The problem with them is this scalloped edge here, and when you drink, the tea tends to slither down the sides of your mouth, which is not totally cool.
Are they safe though?
Oh yeah. Well, who knows what went into them. They're very, very fine porcelain. If you look at them, you can see.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, are they full of lead and stuff? Or?
They may be. I don't know.
And
they're old enough that the country of origin is not on them.
The camera's having a hard time for that for some reason. Anyway, so use them sparingly, in other words.
Use them sparingly. So,
all right.
Let's see. Pause a moment, will you? I want to...
Can't pause, it doesn't look like that.
The blue and white gold scalloped edged porcelain tea service belonged to your great-grandparents, Albert Edward Burns and his wife, Henrietta Emma. It was one of their wedding gifts when they were married, and was given to them by the employees of the Marylebone Workhouse in London, where your great-grandfather was employed at the time. They were married on June 7th, 1911 at St. John's Church in Richmond, England. The tea service is very delicate and the porcelain is almost translucent.
Wow.
So, yes. And obviously they didn't use it very often because the service itself is almost intact. There's 3, 6, 7, 8 cups.
I don't think she needs to go in there, does she?
I don't think she needs to go in there either. Okay. Okay. These...
Who is that, Camille?
That's Camille,
I
yes.
should have known.
Yeah, of course. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 objects here are what are called sugar casters or sugar shakers, and literally what they were was they would contain powdered sugar. They're all English. They would contain powdered sugar, and you would have them on the table, and you'd sprinkle them on your pancakes or your whatever else you chose to have sugar on. I collect them because I think they're really pretty. They're almost all cut glass. This is what's called ruby glass here. This one is identical to one that we inherited from your father's family, and I gave it to Julie. So okay. Julie has it now.
That's good.
So all of these are ones that I bought.
Okay.
Okay. In the back are 2 handmade dolls. I don't know if you can zoom in too well and see them.
Sort of. The light's not great. Anyway, go on.
Anyway, I got them many, many years ago in Santa Barbara. There used to be a woman in Santa Barbara who would hand make these dolls. Let me take them out for you. And she'd mold the faces, and she called them the 49ers. And they were all sorts of different characters from the 49er Gold Rush. This is a fancy lady, in case you're interested. But
is that a euphemism for a prostitute?
Yes. So, Greta's 49ers, handmade in California. And as I said, I got them in Santa Barbara. I always thought they were kind of neat because the faces are all different, and she obviously put a lot of thought into the clothing and so forth. And she's got jet beads, and she's got a little reticule, and so anyway. So I'm sure that the lady is long gone, and so I just thought, oh, did not wish to do that. I just thought they were pretty neat.
Glad you did that instead of me.
Yeah, I really hope to break them. That would be an awful thing to do to my grandmother's.
We have to remake the video to, just as you were
that?
talking about how the set was complete and full and everything.
Don't.
We'd have to
Don't even
remake.
say that.
We'd have to remake the video.
Okay, and then there's one right next to it in complete contrast, and she is a...
Why don't you leave that one there? We don't need to pull that one out.
I'm going to do that. I'm not going to pull her out. Anyway, the other lady is the contrast. She's the respectable lady.
All right.
Okay, let's see.
We drop down to the next level.
No, we still got stuff to do on this level here. This is a scent bottle, and it's English, and you can tell it's English because it's got the hallmarks right here.
We'll hold it still for a second. Point to the hallmarks again.
It's right here. Tells you when it was made, where it was made, and something about the maker of it.
Huh.
So anyway, you don't see green very often, so I thought that was pretty cool. So I've kept that one. This, I believe, is actually yours.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yes, this is from your aunt, JQA. This is Brierley Crystal, and Brierley Crystal was based in was it Dudley? Were they in Dudley or were they in Lye? Anyway, they were famous crystal works that were in business for a very long time, and I remember going over there and going through the crystal works and watching them blow the crystal and cut the crystal and so forth. And one of the things that impressed me so much, being American, is I was used to being kept way back and everything. And you could just go right up and peer in the furnace and watch them and everything, and there was no keep back or anything. So it was kind of fascinating. So anyway, this is from there, and most unfortunately, when the flooding of cheap lead crystal came in from the Eastern European countries, they and a number of other cut glass works went out of business. So, which was very sad. So, this is a little, I think this is a snuff box. Holland, America. First class only.
Do you know anything about it?
This is one of many, many things that I inherited from my parents after they went into an assisted living facility, and unfortunately can't tell you a thing about it. Okay, what else do I have? I have some cut glass vases. These are two sherry glasses that I bought at the same Brierley Crystal place when I was there when you were 12. We went to... Can you see them? These two right here. These two right here. Okay, moving around a little bit. This is one of my favorite pieces, and I got it from my parents, and that's the turquoise toad here. See him?
There he is. Turquoise toad.
Mm-hmm. I think I should take him out so you can see him, because he's pretty cool. This is what's called spiderweb turquoise, and you can see why it is. I want to take him out so you can get an idea of his size on my hand.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
He belonged to my parents. They got him in New Mexico many, many years ago, and he's one of the things that, as I said, when they had to go into an assisted living facility, that I got from them.
That's cool.
But I think he's pretty cool. The thimbles here I got from my mother. She used to collect them, and I just took a few of them just to remind me of her. One of these, and I'm not sure whether it's this one or this one, I'll have to look and see. One of these belonged to Auntie Olive, and she used it all the time, and she was just a fantastic craft person. I mean, she knitted, she sewed, she crocheted, she did fantastic stuff, so she used that a lot. This pitcher and sugar bowl here, this is Belique from Ireland. It's very, very thin porcelain. Belique is B-E-L, capital B-E-L-E-E-K. And this cut crystal vase my sister gave me. Okay, moving down.
Hold on, let's break this up into two parts.
Good.
So that was the first one. All right, we're going to continue with the cabinet tour, and you remembered a couple of things you wanted to mention on the first two shelves.
Yeah, that we didn't cover. These two glasses here. You'll see this is one. There's another one right next to it. I don't know if you can make that out or not. It has my maiden name on it and the date 1950.
Yep, got it.
Okay. These are from Auntie Olive, and I don't know if they commemorate any particular occasion. Well, this is Christmas 1950, so they're obviously like a Merry Christmas present to me, but these are also from the Royal Broiler, which I talked about also. And there's two of them here. Okay, and very far in the back, I don't know if you can see it or you want me to take it out, that very tall glass, that's also from your Auntie Olive. It's a much taller wine glass, and it's there too. All these different glasses have different purposes in terms of the kind of wine you're supposed to drink out of them, like whether you're supposed to drink champagne or white wine or red wine. I don't drink much, so I can't tell you any of that, but they all have specific purposes. A number of years ago, Aunt Olive sent Barbara and me each a complete set of Royal Brierley Crystal, and I'm going to see here now 6 cut wine glasses of 2 different types, cordial glasses, 18 glasses altogether. I've broken one of them over the years, so there's only 17 left, but anyway, they're out in there because there's too many of them to have in here. Okay. I think...
Should we move on to the lower level?
No, I'm talking a little bit about this one. This one you were actually with me when I bought. The first one I ever bought, sort of a square cut glass one, with what's called, this is called an onion dome top, and you'll see there's several of them that have this kind of top. It's called an onion dome top, and I got that at an incredible 3-4 story antique shop. It was an old building that had once been some kind of warehouse in Salisbury, and you were with me then. So I think I've talked about the others. I mentioned that one's identical to the ones that we got from the Allens, but they're all sugar casters. So, okay, I think we're done with that shelf now. And we can move down to this one.
All right.
Okay, now some of the stuff, as on previous shelves, I actually got from my parents when we had to move them to an assisted living facility, but some of these things are real special. This is, the frame itself is not very expensive, but this belonged to my aunt, and these were the 2 people she told us that she cared about most in the world.
Right, the camera. Keep talking.
Okay, on the left is me as a child, because Aunt Olive took care of me a lot when I was a child, and I spent a year with her in England when I was 5, and I'm sure that was taken at that time. And on the right is the only picture that we have of Auntie Olive's fiancé, who was killed in a motorcycle crash. And so, as I said, it's kind of a special photo. I don't know where it was taken or when it was taken, but that's Ken.
Ken Downer.
Ken Downer, that's right. This little box here belonged to my mother. You can see it's got a slot in the top, and there's a key, and it was basically just a coin box. Okay. Let's set this up again.
Let's put it aside. We can deal with that later.
Okay. This is what's called transferware. I'm just going to take out the top. It's a miniature ginger jar, and you can see.
Keep talking.
It's the very famous pattern of the willow tree pattern with the willow trees and the lovers and everything. But I think that the red transferware is beautiful, so I bought that a number of years ago. This big jar here is a ginger jar, and that belonged to my mother, and she gave it to me. And let me see what I can tell you about that ginger jar. Okay. Okay. The blue and white ginger jar is an antique. And according to your grandmother, that would be my mother, it's quite valuable. It was given to her by her aunt, Auntie Lou. I have no idea of its actual age or value, but it's one of a pair. Barbara has the other one. So, but I think it's pretty cool. As I said, it is quite old. So, okay, this figure here, which I'm going to pull out. Aunt Olive sent us so many nice things, and this is just one of them. This is, you can see here, this is Royal Worcester, and
keep talking.
Okay, this is Royal Worcester, and one year for my birthday and Barbara's, she sent us each the calendar figure for that month. You can see if you look inside, this is June. This little boy is June, and Barbara got July. This is a little boy playing his harmonica with his dog. Barbara's was a little girl skipping through the waves. So anyway, that's really neat. This back here, I really like this kind. I don't think how well you can see it, but I don't really want to pull it out. This is it's glass with sterling silver on it, sterling silver overlay, and I think it's really neat stuff. I bought that, and I have other pieces out in the cabinet out front, and I'll talk more about that then. This I had as a very little girl in England when I was 5 years old, and it's got my name on it. And Auntie Olive used to fill it with milk and tell me to see when I could see the turtle. So of course I drank my milk so I could see the turtle at the very bottom of the mug.
Good stuff.
Okay. Let's see what else we have. This is just, these are scent bottles that I've bought that I just happen to like.
Okay.
Okay. The spoons here. This is, I didn't inherit very much silver from my parents and grandparents because they didn't have a lot of money, but these did come from my side of the family. They need polishing, but you can see they've got
Hold still for a second. Okay.
you can see they've got the initials on them.
Whose initials are those?
I was afraid you were going to ask me that. I don't know, but they're English, and you can see, again, remember I talked about the hallmarks earlier?
Yeah.
You can look these up, and you can see who made them, when they made them, and where they were made, what city. And these are just pieces. This is what's called coin silver, and this is literally made out of sterling silver coins.
How do you know?
Because you can feel the weight difference. And I'm going to give them to you, and you can feel the weight. Feel this and feel this. This is regular sterling silver, and this is made out of coins, melted, beaten down. Okay, feel this, and then feel how light this is.
Wow.
So that's how you know it's coin silver. And of course, it's got the initials on it. This is not inherited. This has been bought.
Okay.
Okay, and this is American. And the way that you know it's American is because it doesn't have, you can see the difference here, it doesn't have the hallmarks that the English does. Instead, it has the silver content.
I see.
Okay, these little figures here, like little houses and so forth, these I got from my folks. Japan, obviously, but anything else I don't know.
All right.
Okay, this is kind of my father. I think probably that came from Cambria. That came from my folks too. So, and the doll here, she's a very old doll. She's one of the first dolls I ever bought, and I just happen to like her, so she's in there. The salt and pepper shakers over here. The sterling silver salt and pepper shakers, those came from your dad's family. Okay, let's see. I also need to mention, I don't know if I mentioned it when I got this, but it's called transferware, and the reason it's called transferware is because the patterns are literally transferred on with, like, it does spread them on and then do something to them. Anyway, they're called transferware because the patterns are transferred. This is what's called Wedgwood. There's this, and this, and under here is a teapot. Under there is a teapot. So you've actually got the sugar, the creamer, and the teapot, and then this is just an additional it's what's called Jasperware. It's blue. And the Wedgwood factory has been around since the 18th century and are probably more famous for their Jasperware, which is this, than anything else. It comes in different...
Point to that again.
This is Jasperware.
Yeah.
See, and you can see, I don't know if you can see
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but these are raised. So, and they come in different colors. Probably the blue is the best known, but I also have a set of black, which doesn't have the figures on it. I just thought they were neat, but it comes in other colors as well. This I bought when I went to England when I was 17. I spent the summer in England when I was 17, and I bought that and brought it home as a present for my mother. This she bought, and she also bought the teapot that's under there. So I think that covers that shelf. Oh, okay, let me talk about the doll. I didn't talk very much about the doll. Okay, this is actually the first doll I ever bought myself. She's a 14-inch bisque head with a composition body, and you can see what composition is. This is composition. It sort of looks a bit like paper mache. Okay, that's composition. She has a composition body, and she was made by the Armand Marseille company, and that would be Armand, A-R-M-A-N-D, Marseille, M-A-R-S-E-I-L-L-E company. And you'd think with a name that they would be a French company, but no, they were actually a German company. They made dolls from 1885 on. She's what's called a Florodora doll. And the reason you know that is because Florodora is stamped right across the back of her neck.
That's cool.
Okay. In good condition, this doll would be valued between $225 and $375 in 1995. One of the things about dolls is their value has gone up and down, and her value unfortunately has gone down because she's quite fragile and she's somewhat cracked. So anyway, but she's still in her original clothes, which makes her worth more. So I paid $35 for her when I bought her 50 years ago. So okay. All right, do you want to go down to the bottom shelf?
That's why I'm sitting in the chair.
Okay, a lot of stuff on the bottom shelf I got from my parents.
You have to come down so the camera can hear you.
Let's see. Oh, I was going to say something else about the salt and pepper shakers here. I'm just going to take one out, okay? And this came from your grandmother, Blanche Ames. And unfortunately, with all the inherited Allen silver as well as the Ames silver, we had no history or anything with them. It's only what we've been able to figure out. One thing I've noticed, though, which I find interesting, is that the Allen silver in general is much more delicate and graceful, almost feminine appearance, as opposed to the Ames silver, which is big and tends to be kind of clunky and massive. It looks a lot more masculine.
Perfect.
Yes?
I said that's perfect.
We have the Allen flatware, which I have to go through with you, and I think it's very beautiful. And Teddy has the Ames flatware.
Why does he have all the masculine stuff?
Well, I wouldn't say he has all the masculine stuff. He has the Ames flatware, and we have the Allen. Of the two, I'm much happier with the Allen. I don't care for the Ames. It's very solid and massive looking. It's totally different, much more angular, and has no decoration on it either. So, okay. Let's see, some of the stuff I have taken out of here, and so I won't want to be talking about it if I don't have it in here anymore. Okay. Okay. This is a little wooden money box. Your great-grandfather, my grandfather, Albert Edward Burns, worked in St. Marylebone Workhouse, and one of the very elderly residents there made the little money box for my mother when she was quite young. He actually made two, one for her and one for Aunt Olive. My mother's not sure of the date. She thinks they were probably made about 1920, and it's made so that you can open it just enough to get your coins out by sliding the bottom.
Okay.
Which is pretty clever, I think. Okay. Let's see if this is still here or not. Yes, it is. Put this in. This little guy. This belonged to my parents, and it's kind of special to me. This is Father Christmas, and he's very faded. This was originally green. He's very faded. But one of my memories as a child, because my folks were pretty poor when I was a child, is that every Christmas, we didn't have a Christmas tree. That would have been too expensive or everything. But my mother would make a little Christmas scene, and she would get out a mirror, and she'd put the mirror down, and then she'd put a little, like bits of greenery and stuff around it, and she'd put Father Christmas by the mirror so that it looked like he was standing by a lake. She put down cotton wool for snow, and anyway, it was something special I remember from my childhood. So, okay, we'll put Father Christmas back. Oh, one of the things that's cool about Father Christmas is if you look at him very carefully, you'll see he was made in occupied Japan.
Hold on, hold that still for a second. Need the freaking camera to track in on that. Just hold it. Let me try.
You hold on to it.
There we go. Occupy Japan. That is interesting. Here.
Okay, the two little teddy bears here I got from my parents. I don't know anything about them. Okay, these I want to mention. These are significant. These are, as you can see, Royal Crown Derby. It's pronounced Derby rather than Derby. Made in England.
Okay.
This is part of a tea set that we got from your grandmother, Blanche Allen Ames. And unfortunately, the teapot got broken long before I ever inherited it. But we have cups and saucers, and we have the sugar and the creamer. And I think they're very beautiful. So, but anyway, so elsewhere, because there's not room for them here, there is the rest of that set. So those did come from your grandmother. And I imagine that she came from her grandmother, too, actually. The tea service is 6 cups, saucers, dessert plates, and the sugar and creamer. There was probably a teapot at one time, but it didn't come with a set and probably was broken a long time ago. Also, very unfortunately, I broke one of the plates. So one has been mended. And as I said, they belonged to your grandmother and came to us when she died. Okay. Oh, this is another Belique vase. They're literally, you know, if you have enough light, you can literally see through them.
Huh.
And it tells you on the bottom, Belique, and it's Ireland.
Alright.
And these are the same, obviously, as the up there. They come in different patterns and so forth. This figure here and this figure here and the little Japanese figures, these belong to my parents. I inherited them from my parents. I can't tell you anything at all about them. The same with the ivory here and the little figures here. They're all cute little figures, as is this. This is amazing to me. This is so incredibly delicate and beautifully carved. Again, that's Japanese and it came from my parents.
Alright.
My father collected toy soldiers, very nice toy soldiers, and I imagine these probably came from the toy store in Cambria. You remember it? Because they're beautifully made and they're just, you can feel they're heavy. I think they're lead. Anyway, this is rather a sad story. He had a whole collection of them, and I only took 2 of them, and Barbara took all the rest, quite a considerable number of them. And as you know, the house got broken into repeatedly when we were down in Apple Valley, and so she lost all of the others. Those were one of the things that were stolen. So this is all that's left of my father's pretty extensive collection. So this little figurine here is kind of interesting. One time when we went to England, we went to visit my Auntie Lou, who was quite a controversial figure, and she gave me this, and he's of course broken, and she gave him to me, and he was broken, and she didn't have the arm. She didn't know what happened to it, but she gave this to me, and this is kind of typical of my Auntie Lou in a way. She was very, very tight with her money. So I always kept it because it sort of reminded me of her in a way. So anyway, that's where that came from. This is modern. I just got it because I liked it. This is a figure, of course, from my parents. But underneath it, I want to talk about. This is a cup and saucer, as you can see, and it's old enough that there's no country of origin on it, and also, you know, no place where it came from or anything. And this, and you can see it's also cracked. It's been mended. Let's see, blue and cream gold trimmed teacup and saucer that belonged to your great-great-grandmother Dodd. That's my grandmother's mother, your great-great-grandmother Dodd. It's very old, and the only markings on it are the numbers. It's rimmed with blue and decorated with gold markings. Anyway, I've been trying to trade it for a teacup and saucer and plate that your sister has, my sister has, of the china up there, and I think I did that actually. So, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else in here I need to tell you about. This is a doll I got from my mother. I suspect she's reproduction because she's not at all worn, but I think that, oh, I have a few other things here. These are cute, I think. It used to be that when salt was more valuable, that you'd have a couple of these on the table and you'd have little salt spoons, specially designed little salt spoons, and your guests would, if they wanted salt, they would help themselves to salt and they just sprinkle on their food like that. So
That's cool.
yeah, I have 3 of them, and I've got a bunch of I have a number of the little spoons that go with them too. I just bought these because I thought they were interesting. It used to be you could get this stuff a lot more readily than you can now. It used to be a lot cheaper too, and it's not, so I haven't bought anything much like that in some time. Okay, I'm going to put this back.
Is that everything?
Just trying to think if that's everything. Everything I can tell you about. This is modern. I got that in England. Well, actually, we got that. I got in England when I was there with you in 1990 with Barbara and the kids. That's a Royal Doulton figurine in the back that I got. I didn't realize that they came in different sizes, so she's tall, and I'm a little disappointed in her actually, so I may actually get rid of her. So I don't like her name either.
What's her name?
Katie. I think that's it, Justin. I think I've pretty much covered everything in there.
All
Unless
right.
you see something I've missed that...
No, I think you got it. For a finale, you should try to get Quincy to talk.
Quincy! Well, I think he's just... Quincers! 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 How's that for a finale?
That's a good finale. Thank you.
Let's see.
Alright, tell us what you forgot about.
Okay, a couple of things I forgot about. These broken bits of china here, these we found on our property, over on the pond property. And when we first were here, when we first brought the land here, it used to be the remains of an old house right near the great big lilac bush that's down there. And it was kind of neat because actually originally it was 2 lilac bushes and there was a path between them that led to the house, and it was lined with rocks, and there was also an herb garden. But over the years the lilac bush grew so big that it completely went over the path, and now it looks like one huge bush. But anyway, there used to be a house down there, and this broken china, there was nothing but ruins when we came. This broken china came from that area, and before the fire that we had in 97, 96, 97? When was the big fire? 96 or 97?
97.
97. Before the fire, there used to be, you could see the herb garden too. There was thyme and mint and so forth, but when the fire came through, it killed all that. So, I should have mentioned when I was talking about the little salt covers, the little salt bowls here. This is Limoges china. And also this little pot that is holding the silver spoons. My mother painted this before she lost her vision. She used to do china painting.
Okay.
And I thought this was kind of cute, and it holds the silver spoons. So, okay. And this in the back, remember I told you we got this on the trip when we went to England. I really like this. And I was going to talk a bit about this because, let's see, when we were back in 1990, we visited Cholmondeley Castle. Actually, it's spelled Cholmondeley, but it's pronounced Cholmondeley, with Aunt Barbara and Brandon and Molly. And it was a lovely place with beautiful gardens and a wonderful farm with horses and sheep. Do you remember it all? And we had a wonderful cream tea afterward, and I bought this flower vase at the gift shop there. So, it's got some history. Okay, and that is, where did I get this from now?
The bottom.
Yeah, waiting for you back. Okay, and that's it. I think that's covered everything now.
Alright. Let me give you the salt dishes. Thank you.
Now the information that I was referring to, I have on this sheet here, and it's in the folder in the cabinet here, marked I have a special folder that I have actually pulled out. It's over here. It's family stuff and history, appraisals, history information, and family heirlooms. And this is talking about additional stuff, so a lot of this stuff is here. This is all about Eleanor's diamond ring, its appraisal and so forth. So anyway, this is in the file drawer there under appraisals, history information, and family heirlooms. So,
All right.
okay.
Thank you.
Chloe.